once called the funniest guy in Britain, comedian Eddie Izzard, with his penchant for high heels, lipstick, and good clothes, is my guest for the full hour. His new show, Circle, is now beginning a North American tour. It's at the Bathurst Street Theatre in Toronto. Welcome, Eddie Izzard.
Hi.
You don't have any high heels on.
I do actually.
Oh, you do have heels.
You can't.
Oh, okay.
They're high enough.
You thought you couldn't let me down. You're looking quite masculine.
Well, that's. I believe with my fantastic sexuality, being transvestite, I can actually. People say, "Why aren't you wearing makeup now?" And I went from one box of not being able to wear makeup into a box where I had to wear makeup all the time.
You can do whatever you want.
So now, yeah, I can do whatever I want. So as women can wear makeup or not wear makeup, flat shoes, high heels, man's jacket, woman's dress, you know, whatever. So
yeah.
Total clothing rights for women, and I think total clothing rights for men, and just play around with it.
So it's full freedom.
Yeah.
Now, you're even growing a little hair?
Yes, and, well, beards seem to be male makeup in a way. You can just change shape, face shape.
You're right, I never thought of it that way. Yeah. That's why guys do weird things.
That's why they do weird
beards.
things, and also can change how faces look,
they
slim down, bush them out, you know.
And it's amazing when you see somebody after they've shaved it, when you're used to them.
Yeah. And then and sometimes it doesn't work.
Never
you
works,
think certain people with a moustache, you say, yes, that's okay, and then without it, you go, no, put it back on. And
so how are you liking yourself with a bit
of... fine,
you look meaner.
Yes, it's
You're meaner,
it's just, when people start expecting, because I used to have television companies say, well, he will be wearing X, Y, and Z, or be looking at this.
He will be wearing a rubber skirt.
Yes, and I would say, no, I don't know what I'll be wearing. So I would just, because I thought I was going into that other box, having come from, you know, just straight man box into, transvestite box, so I thought, just go into different boxes, and then no one knows what I'm wearing, and then it gets confusing.
That's the thing, isn't it? I mean, you bust out of one thing, and then you're in another prison. And it doesn't matter, so I guess your freedom becomes another prison. Is it true freedom, though, one must ask?
Yeah, it is definitely true freedom. I mean, I seem to have created a space where I can wear what I want, in the sense that my confidence level is at a space where I can say, well, I'll wear what I want, and if people give me hassle in the street or whatever, I'll just tell them, I'll just choose some interesting swear words and throw it back at them.
And it works.
Well, it sort of works, but sometimes I have a fight. I did end up having a big fight.
I remember we talked about that before. You did. You had somebody.
Yeah, they were just they were saying, "Hey, Tracy." So I was just saying my name isn't Tracy actually. But
what were you wearing?
I wasn't wearing anything kind of outrageous. I was just wearing heels and a bit of makeup and trousers. But he was a bit drunk. And I didn't quite realise that he was just in a belligerent mood, so he thought he'd go for it, so I thought I'd tell him to calm down. So I told him to calm down a number of times, and then he wouldn't calm down, so, you know, he wouldn't stop being insulting. So I thought...
So the testosterone came out.
Well, yeah, I strung together some of the most interesting swear words I've ever said and applied them to him, and then he went for me.
And you went back.
Yeah, I was doing quite well. I was blocking. I learned this from a jiu-jitsu book when I was a kid. That you're supposed to, when someone punches like that, you just sort of block their arm. So I did that a couple of times, and I think I landed a punch. Because he was claiming, he says, look, there's this, and I've got a bit of a cut. But then he had 4 friends, and it was a bit of a...
Oh.
I didn't realise, because it's just him that was doing it, but then the 4 friends were sort of walking
Well, you're
around.
lucky. You're lucky you escaped.
Yeah, I mean, essentially.
And
so either now I should just let people insult me and not say anything, or I learn jiu-jitsu or some sort of martial art.
Yeah, so you go...
Or, like in America, buy many guns and strap them to your body and shoot everyone. So I haven't quite worked out. I think I'd probably just play it a little more casually.
Calmly. It makes life a little more serene.
Yeah, I mean, but you do get annoyed when people attacking. It's actually, I just suddenly got the anger of, you know, why should I not be allowed to just stand here and I'm not doing anyone any harm? Why should this person attack?
People, it must be getting better about it, though. I mean, we have. I mean, you were mentioning...
generally, society in general? I think so. I mean, I think 80% of humanity just says, well, you do what you want to do. I mean, I've got my own problems. Most people have got their own worries and problems, and you want to do that, that's fine. I'm trying to deal with tax bills and whatever, and, you know, I'm not bothered. Most people are just not bothered. They're whatever, I'm cooking eggs, you know.
Well, we had some, you were mentioning, we had some, a couple of transsexuals on the show, and we got a lot of positive feedback. I mean, I really think that people have changed or trying to understand it.
And I think it's also, if you are calm about it, if you say, this is me, I'm happy about it, if you've got a problem, have a problem. Have a problem in your own home, on your own time, that's okay. As long as your problem isn't affecting anyone, that's okay. But jump up and down and scream if you want, but that's your thing. And so you just take the problem away from yourself. Because you say, I'm just part of society. I'm going to do this job. I can do that job. And that's what gay and lesbian people have done. Since the 50s, they have moved sexuality into a position where it is with heterosexual people. With heterosexual people, if you're going for a job in a bank, they don't say, right, so you're heterosexual. Are you good in bed? I mean, are you interesting? Do you ever go for some of that sort of kinky stuff? Or it's not part of it. It's just how good are you as a banker? How good are you at selling books in a bookshop? That's it. You have your job, you have your contribution to society, and then your sexuality is something separate. It's your own private thing. And that's what transvestite, transsexual people have to get, because we're still the poor cousins in the alternative sexuality arena. Still, you know, gay and lesbian people go, well, I don't know about them. You know, they seem to be a bit, haven't got their act together. It's like we haven't got our act together.
Well, people find it hard to understand. Now, you date women, don't you?
Yeah, because I believe that most transvestites, transsexuals do fancy women. And it was interesting.
We talked to the guests the other day.
Yeah, but on the other day I was watching, and he's saying he does fancy women, but he thought he wasn't lesbian. I say that I'm a male lesbian. That's the best. I think most transvestites, I would say, male tomboy or male lesbian. They often, I think he was in the police force before.
Yeah.
They will do. There's a big slice of boy going on in there, and there's a slice of girl. So it's like I was saying, running, jumping, climbing trees, putting on makeup. These are the things. Football or soccer. Soccer and makeup. I was a huge soccer player and fan. You know, until I went to a school which didn't even play soccer, which is insane in England. But anyway, played rugby instead. But I just love football. I lived for playing football. Up to the age of 13, I just lived for it. It was my biggest thing. I couldn't get any...
It must have been a terrible thing trying to keep wearing makeup at that time.
Well, I wasn't. I didn't have access.
Yeah.
And I wasn't out. I didn't tell other 13-year-old kids that I was a transvestite, because I thought they might just sort of hit me with many sticks. And, you know, I'm quite savvy at trying to work out when I should come out. I waited till I was 23, even until I was all the way through college. That's you have people in the forces, in the police force, big guys who drive trucks. That's why it's quite difficult to, because you quite often have these big guys with kind of bad wigs, and there's a frumpy transvestite area, which I think is where perhaps a lot of society says, well, this is a look that isn't really working. You know, it's kind of that frumpy.
But you've gone high fashion. You go high fashion,
well, I've gone
because
kind
I
of
was
funky and
coveting,
hipper
I think, your shoes the last time. You had lovely.
Well, interesting. This is a woman's jacket. Oh, my wire's showing there. I'm going to sit on my wire so it doesn't show. But this is actually, I actually bought it in New York, and I just thought this is just a leather jacket, and I liked it. But it's actually a woman's. It zips up the other way. Now what is that? I mean, because zip up one way, it's a man's jacket, and men will not. Will take this back. A lot of straight men would, if they found it zips up the wrong way, the idea that it could be a girl's jacket. They just couldn't deal with it. And the button, you know, the buttoning the other way. There is no reason why women's stuff should button up one way.
I know why, because the dry cleaners can charge you more. They charge so much more. You bring it.
But are the dry cleaners in charge of the actual clothing business?
I don't. Maybe they are.
Well, that's the only thing that could make sense.
Maybe they've got something going on.
But they do charge more for women's stuff?
They do. They charge almost twice as much.
And for haircuts as well. If a woman has short hair, has it cut, she'll probably get a higher charge than men's stuff. And women's clothing is made worse, but there's more variety of women's clothes. Men's clothes is made better, but men often don't even have an idea about what clothes to wear. Like, there's a shop in Britain, I think it was... I can't remember what it was called. It was a very English man's clothing shop, and it was somebody called it the clothes shop for men who don't like clothes, who go in and say, I need a suit.
And they throw it together.
I need something, put it on me. Yes, that's my credit card, whatever. They haven't got a clue.
But you're not like that.
No, well, I am sort of like that. I didn't have a great visual style sense. And you see, most transvestites, transsexuals, if you're coming out, it's a problem. It's seen as a problem in society. So you don't immediately come out and hang out with a load of friends on the street. You sort of come out at home and you sort of try on clothes.
It's hard enough for women. They take a long time to develop a style that you can, you know.
But also you develop your style by feedback as well.
Yeah.
That's the key thing. You go out, you're in the shop, you try it on, you say to the assistant, do you think, one thing, I prefer you in that, or whatever, or maybe they're trying to sell you something, but then your friends will say, that works on you, or that doesn't.
But if you're only dealing with transsexuals...
But if you're only at home, and no one's seeing it at all, you're dealing with no one, you're just putting on stuff, and you're living probably in a sort of wish fulfillment thing of trying to look like Rachel Welch in the 70s.
Yeah.
And in fact, you have a more blokey body, and you need to go this tomboy, tom-girl thing. That's where...
So you figured that out?
Yeah, because I'm kind of more blokey looking and blokey body.
So you're going with it. You think that most transsexuals kind of fight the male thing?
Well, because
frilly?
because you've been so pushed into the male thing, and it's like being able to eat chocolate. And imagine everyone was eating chocolate at school, and you couldn't eat chocolate. This isn't a great analogy, but it sort of works.
Yeah, I'm allergic to chocolate. I can understand.
Okay, you're allergic to chocolate, but I don't know if it quite works for you. But say you like chocolate, you could eat it, but they just said you couldn't eat it because only girls eat chocolate. And then if you'd get this chocolate, you'd stuff it in your mouth. And
I did. I ate a whole box of Godiva chocolates at
Oh,
Christmas
right.
because I hadn't eaten them in about 10 years.
That's it, because you're not allowed to.
No.
But then this is my whole idea. Like transvestites are constantly in the. I shouldn't talk the whole interview about this
No,
because
because we've got to take a break. They're yelling at me to take a break.
Right, take a break.
You want to take a break? Okay, we're going to take a break.
I'll tell you what.
The one and only Eddie Izzard is my guest. We're going to have more on all this stuff when we come back, and we will. The Avengers, you must have loved. I was so jealous when I heard you were doing that movie. It had such an effect on me when I was a kid.
I love the Avengers, and to work with Sean Connery, and I didn't actually do anything. I didn't say anything in the end.
No, but you looked
They
good.
dubbed a line on which I didn't even say. Yeah, I just wanted to do it and hang out, and
Was it fun to
was
be in the Avenger
it
stuff?
was great fun.
You must have wanted the leather. Did you want the leather Emma Peel jumpsuit?
Well, she had amazing clothes, and I also remember her going. She was just talking to the clothing designer, saying, "What if I had one that was with a tiger print?" I just thought, is that how it works in film, where you can just say, if you've got the lead role, I'd like something blue, and but I was just sort of grinning at people and chewing gum. I decided I'd chew gum, because I just had visual scenes, so I thought I'd chew gum and not smoke cigarettes, just some sort of bit of whatever. But then I was chewing too much gum initially, and I looked in the monitor and it looked like I was chewing a balloon. So I had to cut that down to a very small bit of chewing gum.
Now, you were saying, when we were chatting in the break, that you knocked him dead in San Francisco, which we just showed a clip, but you're saying that the gay audience didn't really show up.
Well, it's not, I don't have, sometimes you'll have a gay following. The gay community will have certain gay icons, certain things that will really be a big gay following, and that doesn't really happen with me. I just get a comedy following. But the gay audience did come in New York, but then they sort of said, well, this is not really, it's difficult to say what is gay humor, but it just wasn't.
It's not gay humor.
Yeah, it's not specifically gay humor, whatever gay humor is, but gay people did come, and lesbian people, and straight people, if they
all people in this giant world that we have.
But it's true, but if you see my audience, it goes from 8 to 80. I mean, you get really, and it's complete sweep. I even had a neo-Nazi once turning up. We found out, I was playing this club regularly, and this guy, it's a National Front in Britain, and we found out he had swastikas on his thing, but he was into surreal comedy. I didn't know what to do with that, but I mean, it's just like surreal comedy has a big thing, and I'm not trying to encourage that audience there, but it just points out that it just sort of crosses a lot of barriers, because it's just weird and surreal.
And you don't, although the sexuality we've been talking about, you don't do a lot of sexuality in your
Well, it's not sexuality-driven politics.
No.
I mean, I'll talk about my sexuality going through it.
But sex isn't the punchline.
No, it's a bit like, if you're heterosexual, you'd say, you went out and you saw this girl that you were attracted to, and you might have some story about that, and that would be driven by your sexuality. People wouldn't think of it that way, because you think straight person when you take it for granted. But I'll just say, well, being transvestite, I used to do this, and I just say when I was a young transvestite, and I'll just pepper the thing with, I just take it for granted that way. So and I will do the gig wearing a beard or wearing makeup, or swap it round, and just so that I'm just not in that box, and also because it's not to do with what I'm looking like. It has got kind of fixated on that. People thought even it could be a gimmick, which was really ironic to me, because when I first came out, it was, will I lose my career having been dishonest?
It's a big deal.
And then they said, oh, that was so clever, and you were so lucky to. And I thought, lucky? This was
torturing you.
My career was taken off in England, and I thought, if I come out like this, I'll be honest, and I'll get the skeleton out of my closet, and then I can deal with it, and I'll be able to be loose and groovy and talk about it. But I could just blow the career out.
How did you feel the first time you went on stage as a transvestite?
We filmed it. We actually filmed it, and it was interesting. And the guy was filming other comedians' reactions to it. So it was scary. I mean, I talked about it for a year. I actually planned this, almost military strategy, because I was going to be in the army when I was a kid. So
yeah, see, you got that guy.
Yeah, well, it is. It's that big slice of running, jumping, standing still. And I thought I better tell the media, because I told all my friends when I was 23, and then I was about 29 or something. It was in 1991, and I thought I'd better tell the media because they're writing stuff about me as a stand-up. And I thought I dropped it into an interview, and so with someone I thought I could trust, and so they wrote about it in one of the big broadsheets, and then everyone could write about it. And I started talking about it on stage, but then journalists said, "Well, I've never seen him in a dress," so I thought, "Well, I better go to that next stage and just prove, this is what I'm going to do, and just get the freedom to be able to do that if I wanted to." And so we filmed it, and it was curious because I could talk about being transvestite, with wearing makeup and wearing a dress. And I thought, well, that will probably work. But then when I started talking about something else, I started talking about Doctor Who. Did you ever get Doctor Who?
Yeah,
Yeah, you get all the programs, don't you? So I was talking about something about Doctor Who, and I thought maybe they'll just go, no, transvestite talking about Doctor Who, not going to happen here. But they did. They laughed at that. So I thought, that was the proof that I could actually talk about weird, surreal comedy about anything, and the look was just going to be something that slowed people down for about 5 minutes.
It must have been an enormous freedom for you.
Well, yeah. I mean, it moves your confidence thing up hugely because essentially, I thought when I was coming out, I thought I'd come out to everyone, the media type thing. I thought I could ask everyone.
A coming out party.
Well, it wasn't quite a party. It was just a gig. But when I did, I just thought the entire population of the world. If I asked them, should I come out at this point, they would probably say no. About 6 billion people would say no, don't. Keep it quiet. Just even in Hollywood, still, the people are pretending to be straight when they're gay, pretending to be straight when they're lesbian.
So you
still
believe
seen
all
as a
that
problem. Well, no.
Yeah, we all stop in the
but don't you think it's
supermarket.
True? You know that people are not. There's not.
Of course, there's got to be a percentage.
People, there's still a whole bunch of people who should be out who are not being out and living a lie.
They think they're not going to get the parts, though.
Yeah, exactly. But I think we're not going to gain anything until people are brave enough to come out early enough. I mean, I'd like to encourage people to just come out and you might have to adjust your life. You probably can't work as a lawyer. So if a lawyer's just what you're going to do.
Why not? If you were doing great law
you
work,
should be able to, but you might have to get so established as the lawyer that everyone needs and then do it. I mean, I had to engineer it so that my stand-up career was already taking off, and then I did the transvestite thing, and I thought, well, if I just keep the comedy really good, maybe they'll just overlook it. But then most people just weren't bothered. They were curious, but not really bothered.
But what does it say about the rest of the people, too? I mean, it says a lot about you having the courage to come out, but did you think of mankind in a different way, that they could handle it?
Did I think of it differently once I came out?
Yeah. I mean,
No,
people are
well,
a
I
lot
was
more
pleased.
generous.
Yeah, I mean, because you can see the dark
side.
side of human beings when, as a group nature, they'll be predatory or in that kind of lynch mob idea, and you can see the negative side of humanity working that way. But I'm very positive about humanity, and I thought I said to my dad because I told him 6 years after I first came out. I waited 6 years thinking, should I? I told him, and he was very cool about it. And I said, I think Britain, the people in Britain will be able to swing with this. And he wrote me back a letter, and he said he wasn't sure about the rest of Britain, whether they'd go with it. But they did. And then I thought, well, America will, and everyone generally will, even people in Islamic countries who you'd think, well, I think, if you're ultra-religious people, they're going to have a big problem with it, okay. But there's going to be the majority of people who are human, and it's whatever you want. It's, I think live and let live is...
Yeah, and then you do, and you don't dwell on it. We're going to take another break. Eddie Izzard is my guest. We're going to be right back. Stay with us. I have to ask you this. We were chatting all about sexuality. Now, you go out with women.
Yeah.
But I talked to the other transsexuals about it. You think that transvestites and transsexuals are attracted to women. Is it the image you're attracted to?
No,
because when you wear women's clothes, what do you think of when you look in the mirror?
Oh, I'd like to. There's part of me that would quite like to be a woman, but actually, since I've been able to express a more female side of myself, I actually quite appreciate being a bloke as well.
Yeah, so you don't want to get like an operation?
Well, I would be up for that, but I think I'd look like a bloke who's changed sex.
Yeah. So you're going to just go with it?
Yeah, so I seem to have a lot more fun in this kind of all options. Cake, eat it, and a spare cake.
Now, you do know that women are attracted to you, though.
I know, well, that's what I didn't think. That is what
going on.
I did not think.
Yeah.
I thought, I'll come out, and I actually said this, in my head, analysed it. I thought, all women will just say no, and then you just have to be celibate, really. and that's what I thought. I just thought, no relationship, it's just not going to happen. And I sort of, because I didn't really, I watched this sort of glam rock thing in Britain, and even the New Romantic period, which is sort of later period where boys are wearing makeup, but I didn't associate with it, and I didn't also go around and be part of it, because I just didn't want anyone to say, you must be a transvestite. I wasn't out at the time. But I didn't think women would go for it, but it was already there in the sort of pop world that women...
So they just went
women
with it
are
that
really
way.
positive on it, but only if you're cool about it. Like, if you seem... some women are just positive about it anyway, but like I got to a position of getting kind of known in Britain, and then you couldn't tell whether it was just because you were known,
or whether they
your makeup or whatever. But I do know that women are a lot more into it than
they're
I
not
thought.
threatened by it or whatever. I mean,
Some
do you have,
women
like,
seem to be threatened by it, but I don't sort of hang out with them, so I
No,
don't.
but there is a group, when you mention your name, there's women who say, you know, I think he's kind of attractive.
Yeah, I
even
know,
though
and
you're
some
wearing
people
lipstick or-
apologize. I don't know what, and people say, but I.
How do other men feel about that? That
I
you're
think
getting the girls with heels on?
I don't think they not admit that, but I don't think they see that. So it's not too much of a problem. I think if it was really sort of spelled out, they go, I think I have a big problem with it, because I thought you're supposed to run and climb trees and go out and hunt boar. And
See, that must make you feel good, though, because you're
Yeah.
really buzzing things up.
Well, yeah, it makes it good, because I just thought I was going to be a waste of space. I'd come out and be honest, but then it would just be closed down on relationships and stuff. But also, I'd be open to, some people said, oh, you're pretending that you're not gay. But I was saying before in the break, it's not drag queen. Drag queen is gay men. Gay men do drag queen. That's great, and that's the sort of glamorous thing. And then transvestite, transsexual is separate. And also, some people separate transvestite TV and TS, but I think that they are linked. They're just sort of adjoining rooms. They're further down the corridor. It's just a progression, that one. But they all seem to be male lesbians.
Do you think, I mean, this has all been going on for a long time. We are talking about it now, though. I mean, when
Yes.
you were, whatever you were going through in your adolescence, would you think now, I mean, you're on a talk show, you're talking about it. Major headway has been made. Like, genders are blurred.
Yeah, well, I think that if you take sexuality, we do think there's this big camp of, well, if you think of girls, big camp of men and women, but I think we're all just human beings, but the Mother Nature needs us to procreate. So at puberty, girls and boys are pretty similar. At a young age, you could dress a boy up, a girl as a boy. Not really different in physiognomy, I don't know if it's the word, facially and whatever. But then you hit puberty, and it's women are over there and men are over there. Crowbar them apart, and these are almost like separate species. And then in older age, the looks come back together.
But there are differences. There are differences, internal differences.
There are differences internally, there are differences in chromosome and hormones going on, but there is X, Y, and XX going on, I think. It's X, Y, and XX.
Yeah.
So there's already shared chromosomes going on there anyway. And I believe it's inbuilt, it's genetics. It's not a choice thing. People have
You
argued
think
that,
you just got
yeah, I mean,
a
I was
lot of-
4 when I knew, and it's stayed exactly the same ever since. It's like it's in my gene string now, I think.
Now, let's show an insert. We've got some of your show. Let's take a look.
There's a lot of...
Where'd you get your stuff? Where'd you get your material from?
I have no idea. I have no idea, because I don't write it, and it just comes out of...
Stream of consciousness?
Yeah, I ad-lib it on stage.
Virginia Woolf of the comedian world?
If that's what she did, yeah. Because I don't read books, so I don't know. I know that she was a wolf, but anyway. But yeah, I sort of know where I'm going. In any show, I've done the show the night before, so I know this sort of big motorway where I'm going. It's going from city to city, but I just go off on side roads. And if I'm on the side road, I find something interesting, the next night I'll repeat that and build it up, and it becomes a part of the show.
You must have an unbelievable memory.
Short-term memory is great.
You remember all those pathways and everything.
Yeah, I do. Like night to night. If I have a gap, like there's 2 months. Last gig I did was in London, and that's now 2 months later. And so I forget that I have to listen to my show. I have to actually get my show on tape.
You do.
And listen to it and go, oh yeah, I said that. Oh yeah, I'm gonna write that down. So, and now once I've done a show last night, I'll be okay tonight, and we'll sing.
The monarchy. There are always great things for British comedians.
Yeah, well, I don't know
Why do Brits love laughing at the monarchy?
Oh, well, the monarchy is way outdated. I mean, they should all, it's time to go. Why hasn't Canada got rid of the monarchy?
I don't know. Because we're not. We're too kind.
Yeah,
And we kind of like them. I don't know why, we just do.
It's like weird cousins or something that you've got. Or, I don't know, I think you should get them off your money. Just have Canada. And you can do all that.
Well, Australia
Canada
was
stuff.
heading that way.
Yeah, I know. And
Yeah,
then but then apparently it wasn't a vote against, it wasn't a vote for the monarchy, it was a vote against what they had set up for how the republic was going to be, apparently. That's what I...
So it's a technicality. I know we think about it all the time, and there's always a flurry of articles once every couple of years. But I mean, I guess the Prime Minister who finally says, I'm giving up the monarchy, he has to have a lot of backing to have the guts to do that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, hereditary privilege, slightly outmoded. This is the 3rd millennium now. Let's get rid of hereditary privilege. I mean, there are heads of state. I mean, God, can't we just vote someone in? Can't we have democracy? This idea that I thought we fought for. We had a revolution. We cut off a king's head before. And I thought we'd got beyond
But
that.
what is it? It's in the blood, though, isn't it? Isn't it
What?
kind of fun,
What,
monarchy?
No. I mean, well, I think it is. I think that's right. I think it is
There's
a
a
human
glamour,
thing
yeah.
to want it, like, because the Americans who don't have that,
They create their own. They got the
they've got
Kennedys.
Kennedys, and they've made that, and they also went bananas whenever Diana used to come over.
Yeah.
They went bananas, and I thought, how can they go that crazy? And this is a monarchy who they should hate. Get rid of this monarchy, but no, but everyone loves. Oh, they've got money.
Glamour.
They've got money, and they wear things on their heads and stuff. And they just.
Well, didn't you when you were a kid? When I was a kid, you know, you want to be a princess.
I didn't. No,
You
I never
didn't?
wanted to be a princess.
You
I wanted to be
didn't?
Emma Peel.
I wanted to be Emma Peel badly. I
wanted
wanted
to
to
be
be
Emma
Emma. She really did it, didn't she?
Yeah,
There
I mean-
she had everything. She was powerful. She could chop people up. She could fire a gun, and she was sexy as hell.
Absolutely.
She had it all, Emma Peel.
And she did that hair thing. She had the big hair, and it was. Yeah, I want to be a male Emma Peel, or do that.
I wanted to be a
Peel thing.
female Emma Peel.
Yeah, so it's a very similar area we're coming from, but not monarchy. You know, monarchy was all. I mean, it gets more interesting as you go further back, because then they were running the whole country and murdering everyone, heads on spikes, and then it's a good film.
That's
you know,
good.
As long as you're not actually there at the time.
What about Charles? Hasn't Charles? They've softened
Charles-
towards Charles.
Yeah,
are you softening towards him? Or
I'm
you?
fine on Charles. I've always been fine on
You've
Charles,
always been
even
fine
when
on
they
him.
were really having a problem with him, because principally because he set up the Prince's Trust, which he didn't. There was no precedent for this. He set up this trust which helps underprivileged kids who are from low-income backgrounds, and he's done a lot of work on that and put a lot of money into that, and they've gone on to be in a position, and he understands that problem, because there was the son of Margaret Thatcher, Mark Thatcher, saying, why can't these people just get jobs? Start a business. I started a business, but he's, you know, the son of the Prime Minister, and he's obviously got all these contacts through his mother. He even used his mother as a contact to set up deals. So it's when you're from a low-income background, just there's no one around you who's got a company. And there's no examples of it. Everyone's working in factories. So the idea of setting up your own company is like crazy. But he's been very positive on that, and I think he's like a human being who happens to be.
You do. And Camilla.
Royal family, you know. Yeah,
The Camilla thing, you're fine?
I'm fine on those. I think the kids might be all right as well. Diana did her thing playing with the media thing, but you know, she was pushing out in different ways. Prince Philip is nuts. The Queen's hasn't done anything. I mean, Prince Philip just says racist things again and again and again and again and again and again and again. I mean, how many times before he's put on a farm somewhere? You know, just need to go away. And the Queen just doesn't do anything. She doesn't come up with new ideas. Only when Diana died, and there's this big outpouring of sort of
She had to.
annoyance. Yeah, she felt like she had to, but still nothing's really happened since then. Well, I think they've done something like, oh, they've changed the sheets or something, you know, or moved some of the furniture around. Said, we're much
There
better
we
now.
go, yeah.
You've got to have ideas, move forward, get on bicycles. The Scandinavian monarchy, they got on bicycles, they became more human beings. This whole idea of we've got to be distant, and we've got to say, my husband and I did nothing today. No, new ideas. Got to have, and I mean, democratic monarchy, that's my idea. Vote in the monarch you want.
Okay, and then you can run. We're going to take another break. Eddie Izzard for the monarchy. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Do you like movies?
So I like movies. I love
movies.
movies.
I mean, you love acting in them.
Yeah, I just wanted to get in movies when I was a kid. Everything has been designed to try and get into movies, really. I now actually love stand-up. I never thought I'd be a stand-up, and I always liked comedy. I didn't think I'd quite specialize in that.
You love it?
What, comedy or movies?
Stand-up.
Stand-up, yeah. It's so, you know, you can do it. When I'm improvising, and because I do perform for myself, I do just try and make myself laugh. I just ad-lib off and then go, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
And then I just get into the moment. And I really sort of forget about the audience. And it's kind of in a selfish way of doing it for myself, trying to make myself have a good time, which is a great way of working.
But is it fun? Do you feel like a whole person? You know, had Eric Idle on the show. Because we're both Monty Python fans, as well as being Emma Peel fans.
Well, he bought all the tickets for the show in LA when it came out.
Well, he's amazing. But we were talking about how crazy it was to be in comedy and what it is. And he was saying, you know, that you look out in the audience and here you are, you have this job, you're making money, your whole life, your whole ego is around making people bark, making these noises come out of people. Do you feel that way? I mean, do you feel that sometimes look out and go, what am I doing?
No, I don't see it that way, because I did find, due to the weird way that I came about getting into stand-up, because I was doing sketch comedy like Python before, and then street performing, and then stand-up, that I worked out that I found I could do it to make myself be entertained. So if I'm just churning them out, then I think, well, I'm just trying to push someone's buttons. But the place I'm trying to get to all the time is ad-lib, and therefore I think, oh, this is new, I haven't said this, this is just coming out. Oh, that's a good idea, I'm going to run with that idea. And when I'm running with an idea, I'm just looking for more ways I can fold into this idea and make this idea bigger. And then it's just for me.
What ideas make people laugh? What ideas make people break and make that noise?
Well, this is getting down to the analysis of how comedy works.
Yeah.
For
Do you
me,
ever think about it?
well, to an extent, but if it's not broke, don't fix it, or whatever
No,
it's called.
I get it.
I think Tony Hancock looked into that too much, I think, and then he killed himself. So I just look at technique of how to get it better. But for me, I think it's the juxtaposition of extreme images. You jump to light speed, you go down, you say you're in a shop and you're going down and you're looking at the breakfast cereal, and then bam, some weird thing will come in, you know, pig with a gun says, "They're my breakfast cereal." You go, well, where'd you get that gun? He says, "I'm an American pig and we're allowed guns." And, you know, so I go into I just start putting weird things in. At some point, I have a faith that I will hit comedy if I juxtapose these weird images together, but sometimes I don't.
Is it true that comedians, I mean, in your case, are horribly insecure? Are you insecure about it? I mean, you know
I'm not well, I worked out that if I make it as difficult for myself as possible, and in my sense of comedy, I'm not really too insecure, because I make it pretty difficult for myself. I didn't do the television comedy show. I haven't done the television film show, you know, the film comedy thing. I haven't taken that route. I've done more straight roles.
On purpose?
Yeah, to make it harder for myself. So I can only move forward by doing good work on the stage and through the videos, HBO thing. So I put a lot of time, when I'm on stage, I work my arse off. If I don't know if I can say that word.
You said it.
Off.
It's all right.
But so I feel I could fall back a few levels and still be doing decent work. I hope, because I do try and take chances and push it and tie one hand behind my back. And also I'm touring around the world. I mean, I'm going to Australia and New Zealand and then all through America and back up the West Coast. This is a huge tour, and I've already done. I do gigs in French in Paris.
You were taking French lessons too, weren't you?
Before I was, and now I've done 2 weeks.
You're doing. How are you handling? Why are you doing? Are you fluent in French, or you're just kind of
Je
working?
ne suis pas couramment, mais je peux faire le spectacle en français maintenant, parce que j'ai le français. Do you speak French?
Un peu.
Un peu. J'ai le français. Je parle le français comme un enfant qui a 15 ans. You know, it's not. I'm not really. It's about 14, 15-year-olds French. And
yeah, I get it,
so
but that's
can't-
okay, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's getting better. I did have an 8-year-old's French, and your French improves dramatically when you're doing a 2-hour show in French, because I'm doing it and they're, you know, heckling me and I'm talking back to them, and you just get
Your brain
really,
must hurt after that.
It does. I actually got so tired because I'm still not quite thinking in French. I'm not in that fluent state that I would get tired. I would start coming up with English constructions of an ad lib or somewhere I wanted to go, and then try and get into French, and
And then
I
people
can't
are
do
going
it
to
that
be
way.
imitating you.
Well, I don't know.
French people may be imitating
well,
you.
they
You know
are.
when people do that.
Well, there are there's Francophiles and Anglophiles. You know, there are Anglophile French people going over and working in Britain now. And I'm going over to France and doing my stuff in French. And hopefully, I mean, I'm big into Europe. I'm really into the European idea of the
One
melting
big Europe?
pot. Yeah, because it's the biggest melting pot in the world. 800 million people, 200 languages, all that energy that we've used to murder each other for 2,500 years since the ancient Greeks.
Turn it positive.
Yeah, well, we're not allowed to kill each other anymore. Someone said there's a rule. Apparently, we're all going. Oh, all right. Well, let's make things out of clay, so we could make fantastic pottery. It could be a beautiful idea, but it's quite slow and boring. And the American Revolution has the gun and the flag and the thing, independence and run and come lads, let's do it, and films. But there'll be no film on the making of the European Union because we've just been talking for a while.
Do you admire America? Or is
I
America
admire the
on
get up
your-
and go America, but it can
Yeah.
go so far that you have get up and go and get guns, give guns to small children, and all the killing of the children are killing other children. That is the insanity of America, and the fact that they don't want to stop it.
And have you talked to, I mean, when you talk to Americans about their guns, it's very hard. I mean, it's life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness
Pursuit
and the
of
right to
killing,
bear
the
arms.
right to get a gun and give it to a small child,
It's-
or leave it loose about the house so a small child can take it off to school.
Do you end
is
up in like
crazy.
big arguments in restaurants with
No, really, because
Americans when
I'm happy if they want to kill each other. That's fine. I don't live
But
there.
you're there.
Well,
when you're there.
but I've got lots of guns myself.
Who do you?
No, I don't. But I know jiu-jitsu. No, I don't. I know one. I know that blocking one.
We
And
didn't
it's-
see any bodyguards. Sometimes people show up here with bodyguards.
Oh, really? Who's got bodyguards?
Puff Daddy had bodyguards.
Oh,
And a lot of people here.
Yeah, I should get bodyguards. I was trying to build an entourage because I was on tour once in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, and I realised I had an entourage of one. And I thought I got it. And now when I tour in the UK, it's not really an entourage; they're just people who are working with me. But I could say entourage, you know, people I know. people walking in the same
And
direction.
people would think,
But,
wow.
Yeah,
you've
it's
gotta
just so that your ego can be inflated. Like, I think you should have a bicycle pump attached to your ego.
Well, you seem to be saying, I mean, a lot of comedians, everybody wants to go to America. You don't mind performing in America, but you're
Oh, I could live there. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't see myself relocating there because I'm so into Europe and.
Yeah.
But I do like the let's go do it, let's go make it. And I'm sort of, it's an annoying truth, but that, you know, Hollywood has 80% of the world's media or whatever just bound up there. But a lot of Hollywood, which is quintessentially America, is run by Rupert Murdoch, who's Australian, Edgar Bronfman, Canadian, Sony, are Japanese. You know, so it's actually.
It's a melting pot.
Yes.
It's its own melting pot.
It's its own melting pot. It's not.
Nobody's really from there.
And what
Everybody
is
decided
American
to
is
live there.
essentially that energy to go do when people say it shouldn't work. But I do that in my own small way, like just playing America and playing Canada. How many British stand-ups come over and do it? There's not many. Eric's doing it. He's based in LA, so he's going to be thinking in a different way. But you've got to really get up and do it. And a lot of British acts won't come over. They're just there's no believability. There's no producers or promoters in America saying, "Come on, you British acts." It's like in a pre-Beatles situation where there's no believability. And doing the gigs in French, I'm going to do them in German as well, and in Spanish and Italian.
Ich spreche Deutsch ein bisschen.
Ein bisschen.
We're going to take a break. More with Eddie Izzard in a moment. Don't go away. I get to practice my languages with him. Do you get typecast and things?
Not yet.
So not, but you probably.
Well, I've sort of avoided that. I tried to play nutters, weird nutters, kind of psychotic characters in films and.
Nutter is a British word.
Yeah, you don't use it in Canada.
No, my parents used it, but you know, it's a great
it's a good
word.
one. Do you have knackered?
Knackered, yeah, we know knackered.
You know knackered,
but
you don't.
It was big in my house.
Knackered is great. Nutter and knackered,
yeah.
two. But yeah, I like to play nutters because they. I don't want to play. I like to do black comedies, but I just don't want to come in as the comedy thing because I do such surreal, weird comedy that people say, put him in surreal, and also because I'm a transvestite, they say, well, give him a transvestite comedy role.
People are writing roles for you right now.
No, I think, actually, I've had directors come along, you know, and to see the show, and I just think they go away thinking, I don't know what to do with that, you know. So, I'm an agent's nightmare, really. You know, I just, people will say, look, we've got this person, and I know what I'm doing. I've got a plan that goes in two different directions, doing straight roles in films and doing surreal comedy on stage. So it's heading in different directions. But it's a bit like how the Zulus used to attack in the film Zulu. And they had the horns of a big ox that would do that, a pincer movement, and they'd come in and rush in that way.
See, that's a weird brain.
That's
a weird brain, when your life is like the horns.
Of a film of the Zulu, which...
Where do you get all your history stuff? You talk about history a lot.
I
You
just
say you
watch
don't read books, but
telly.
you know a lot. You just watch television.
There's the History Channel and Discovery Channel and CD-ROMs and some books. I do read some books. I read more factual books than novels, but I love stories. But I mean, I love films and feature films and sitcoms. But you know, I watch a lot of telly, but I don't watch any soap operas. I can't really understand this because logically I would watch soap operas, but nope, doesn't interest me at all. But yeah, I get all my history from telly. And they have all these, the History Channel endlessly churns out.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
wonderful.
What happened,
People
and
don't.
I just take it all in and then come out with weird, I sort of flesh it out a bit like I, Claudius, which you must have got over here, where the wonderful thing, I, Claudius is beautiful, and where they put all this extra detail of characters and what the, you know, the
layering.
Robert Graves of imagining of how they were actually doing it onto this dry history. So I take the sort of dry history, but I have Hannibal with elephants, choosing not to have elephants. Was going to go over the Alps on skis, but the guy at the ski shop was going, right, fresh out of skis. Got some elephants. He says, well, what size shoe? Well, 6. And so they're all going on elephants on ski lifts. And so I just put this surreal thing into the actual facts. But I know all the dates as well, so I'm kind of like a sad history buff.
Did you take it in school? Or
Yeah,
was it
but I was
something
really
that
bad at it.
Yeah, but once you want to know it, you know it.
I know the facts. I like the facts, but when they used to say essay, they kept getting this essay, why did the First World War start? I was like, well, there was a guy in Sarajevo and he's dead now. And I never knew how to answer them. I could do good essays now, but I don't quite understand.
School shouldn't be for the young.
No, I mean, I've done a lot more education since then, I think. And I've dropped all my chemistry. I was doing maths, physics, and chemistry, so.
It's a guy thing. You see, you were trying to do the guy thing.
Well, I made nitroglycerin once, you know. Because they had books in chemistry. I don't know if you ever had chemistry, but they would have books.
Don't do this at home.
Don't do this at home. But it didn't even work at home. It doesn't even work, though, because I was going through it. How to make salt, how to make nitroglycerin. We thought, we've got to do this. So we made it, and we distilled stuff, and we had a bottle of stuff, which could have been nitroglycerin, or could have just been useless. And we poured it on the ground, and hopefully we thought someone might step in it.
Did the whole day go around it? I mean, the nitroglycerin.
Well, we just walked around with this bottle, and there was a woman we didn't like who was a teacher, and we put some down. We thought she'd step in it and go boom, but she didn't. And it didn't go boom, it was just liquid.
So what do you have coming up? You're touring all over the place.
I'm
You're
touring
in
from
Toronto,
here through, and then I'm going
Are
to
you-
Boston and Chicago and Philadelphia, New York, and then Australia and Melbourne and Sydney and New Zealand, and then back up the West Coast, Los Angeles, and back up to Vancouver.
Oh, okay, good.
And then I kill
They'll be
myself.
waiting for you in Vancouver. What do you do for fun? What do you do? Like
Make
comedians usually.
jam.
You make jam?
Make jam skyscrapers. No, I don't know what I do.
Oh, I was
don't
gonna
have.
say.
What do I do for fun?
What do you do? Like, what do you do? What do you have a hobby?
I don't have a hobby. Well, I now can fly an airplane, so that should be a hobby, but I don't have any time to do
Why?
it.
Why did you want to fly an airplane?
I don't know. You want me to tell the rest of the story? All right, because I want to fly a Spitfire.
Because I know it.
Because I want to fly a Spitfire and then restart the whole of World War II. That's my main.
No, you're not a nasty person like that.
No, I
You
wouldn't
don't want
really
to.
start it, but
No,
you know,
because we're smart enough
but
not
just
to
look
fall
like
for
people
it.
got Spitfire. Spitfires are great though. I mean,
Yeah.
and it makes a great sound with a Merlin engine. And
See, that's a guy thing. You can
Yeah.
never have the operation and
But I'm an
get rid of
action
it. But you
transvestite.
see what I mean?
Action
You can't. You'd be
transvestite.
very unhappy if you did that.
action transvestite. That's what I said. Executive
You
transvestite.
can't have, yeah.
Action transvestite. Male M appeal.
Yeah,
See,
you're
M
a
appeal
man.
in a Spitfire you go with, so it's just me in a Spitfire with a bit of makeup and.
Yeah, you
And
gotta-
they have a mirror up there as well, which
So
in
you
the
can look at
Spitfire, so you
yourself.
could look at the plane behind to make sure they weren't coming in, but you can actually just twist it down. As long as you
and
make it
make sure your
adjustable.
hair's looking good. Yeah. Can you put an eyeliner on in a car? I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
you're a
no, I
real
can do
girl.
all that. I can do the makeup. I've driven with elbows and.
Have you done it?
the
I mean,
makeup.
that's a real sign that you
Eyeliner.
made it in the women when you can do. I can do
I've painted
eyeliner
nails.
on a highway and switch gears.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But highway's easy. Can you do it in moving, flowing traffic?
Yeah, I can. I've been doing. I got stopped by the police once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I believe.
They saw me putting mascara on. And
Yeah, I've done
driving down the road.
mascara and lips are difficult, but I can.
No,
I
you
think I can
get used to it.
approximate them.
Yeah, they're not bad.
But you do it in the back of taxis when he's driving like a nutter. And you have to wait. You're at a traffic light and you go like this, and then
And
it's
you come
off.
out looking like.
Yeah, it's looking like someone who's just been in a car putting the makeup on.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I have got quite an expert at that.
So you're flying around. You're doing and movies. Do you have any movies? In
I
your
have
goal?
many
You're the-
movies. I'm in a film with called Shadow of the Vampire with Willem Dafoe and John Malkovich, and they've got very big parts, and I've got a small part that comes along and goes eek, and then runs away. Well, actually, because it's the making of Nosferatu, which was the German vampire film, you know, from the 20s, very famous one, very thin guy with long
Yeah.
things, which Willem Dafoe plays that character. And it's like the actual vampire story, where we know, if you take the Francis Ford Coppola one, the Keanu Reeves played this English guy who went off to talk to the vampire, and he was an estate agent, basically. And I played that role in the 20s thing, but he had a much bigger bum.
What have you done about it? You don't have a big bum.
No, I have a
do you?
small bum, so I had to play him as a small bum actor.
Oh.
But I'm playing, even though he had a big bum, I play a small bum version of him.
You got it anyway.
Yeah, and they
William
didn't-
Dafoe is a frightening guy too. He'd be good at that.
He's great. I mean, when I first saw him, when I got to Luxembourg, because we filmed it in Luxembourg, he was there completely as Max Schreck, this character, and he wasn't talking to anyone. He was just sitting in there. There's lunchtime, right? So he's sitting there in the tent, and he's just not talking to anyone. I thought, my God, he's doing that real heavy method thing, where he's not going to talk to anyone. He's going to be Max Schreck, because in the film, that's what Max Schreck does, doesn't talk to anyone. And I thought, oh my God, because I'd met him before. And I thought, he's not going to talk to me. But then they only smiled and went, hello. And I thought, oh, no, that's all right. He is going to talk. Because I just thought, it's going to be so weird dealing with this guy doing vampire all the time.
Yeah,
but
you
he was
can't
fun.
break it.
Him and John Malkovich was very John Malkovich. He's exactly John Malkovich, how you'd expect.
Being John Malkovich.
Yeah, he was talking about that film. I still haven't seen it yet. But he was being John Malkovich the entire time.
So, when you're on stage, I'm going to ask you. I mean, do you feel like a guy on stage, or you feel like
I feel like an elephant.
you feel like an elephant on stage?
But
An elephant?
actually, I'll tell you, one of the first videos I did, when I didn't have my look together, which was
Yeah.
in a dress, I looked like a small elephant in here.
See, you're
So-
realizing. You see, it's one thing about guys, they don't have a lot of choice, but they don't have a lot of choice, and they don't have a
Okay.
lot of disasters either. Things
That
can go
is
very
true.
bad.
And also, you take a lot longer to go out the door. If you're a bloke, you say, I've got my jacket on, I've got
There's a lot
my
of
shirt
things.
on, what else? I'm ready to go. But when I'm putting a dress on, I'm thinking, oh, that doesn't work with that.
And sometimes
that,
things
and
can
that, this.
totally, one cut can totally do.
Yeah.
And lipstick shades can totally change the look of your face.
Yeah, and the pink doesn't work if you're going to any
No.
openings where there's paparazzi, because they do the flash and the whole lips just disappear, so you could do those strong
They
reds,
are,
which I didn't
yeah, and then people say, I saw them in person, they didn't look very good, but they didn't realize that you had the stuff that would look good or something. You have to decide, picture, reality.
Yeah, different levels of makeup for if someone's using the flash photography, it's just going to kill you, so you have to just go with it.
Yeah, but you go with it.
Yeah, I've sort of generally worked it out.
Anyway, it was wonderful to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Congratulations on everything, and we'll catch you the next time you swing by.
Okey-dokey.
Okay, thank you. Comedian Eddie Izzard. His one-man show runs at the Bathurst Street Theatre until Saturday, March the 4th. He will be in Vancouver in a few months. Don't go away. I'm going to be back right after this. That's it for today's edition of Bynon. On the next program, best-selling author Carl Hyacin will be here to talk about his latest hit, Sick Puppy, and Canadian actress Maria Del Mar. I'm Arlene Bynon. Thank you for watching.
You're watching Prime, Canada's entertainment network.